Okay, everybody, from what I saw and what people told me about what they'd like to do with their quizzes, this is the thing that we're going with. I think anything else may be a little bit too involved, and there may be too much else happening. So I may look at one other option, and that is using text fields to put in A, B, C, or D. But for now, this is what we're going with, and what I'd like for you guys to do with your quiz. So if we have a look at this, this is just my quiz that I've put together. It's based on radio buttons, and from the emails people sent me with pictures of what they'd like to do, this is the type of thing it was. They had different arrangements of things. And that's okay, we'll cover that later. But for this video, all we're going to do is just show you how to set up. I'm just going to take you through what I did to set these things up, and then we'll go from there. So basically, 5 plus 5, it is 10. 5 minus 5, it is 0, and 5 times 5 is 25. Now I'm going to click on the check button, and you'll see what happens. So it's saying that's correct, that's correct, that's correct, and I scored 3 because I have 3 correct answers. If I change this to 0, what are you expecting here? Well, hopefully you say expecting incorrect, and the score should change to 2. Let's have a look. Wow, there we go, it worked. So basically, this is the type of thing you need to have for your 10 questions. Like I said, if you want to do, I may do another video which explains how to do it with a text field. But for this is what I'd like to see. Okay, how do we do it? Let's have a look. This is the code. Now, this is frustrating because I can't. Okay, so basically, this is what we've got now. You should all know about these two lines of code here: from TK into import star, and then master equals TK. Sometimes we do window instead. It doesn't matter. As in, sometimes we put in the word window here, but it doesn't matter. So what we've got there is this. Where's my window? That's really frustrating because I can't actually move. There we go. Now I've moved it. Great. Okay. So if we go through, we know that this question 1 is a label. This is a label here, and these are radio buttons. That's a label. That's another label, and then we've got a button here, and we've got some more labels there at the bottom as well. Now let's have a look at how this is structured. So the labels, we've got a label for question 1. That is here. Question 1 label. So master is the window where it appears. Text is whatever the text is for the label, and here it is question 1. So that's what we have there. And then question 1, the actual question itself, is what I've called it here. So question 1 is another label which is stored in the master window, where the text is what is 5 plus 5. So that's what we're seeing there. Okay, and then that happens for question 2, for question 3. So what you guys should have, you should have 10 of those basically. That should happen 10 times. Now, we're also seeing these radio buttons here. So to make a radio button, what we do is, so we need different options for the different questions. So I've got question 1, option 1, which is this here, which is 10. And we can see that it's set to the master window. Variable q1 var. We'll talk about this variable q1 var later on. Text is what you want to appear next to it. So this, the text is 10. This next one is 11. And the last one, the text is 15. So that's happened there as well. Now, what we've got as well as that is we're assigned each one of them a value. 1, value 2, value 3. That's what we use to check what has been selected. So this is value 1, this returns value 2, and this returns value 3. So so that's what we've got. So we've got that for all of the questions. So for question 1, option 1, question 1, option 2, you guys are going to have 4. So then once again, question 2, option 1, question 2, option 2, question 3, option 3, and I've got those for question 3 as well. So it's all exactly the same, but it's just how it starts off. It's just the fact that it's question 1, question 2, question 3. Once again, these are variables. Doesn't matter what you call them, what case you use, it doesn't matter. Over here, this is what you've got to use. So, so it's a radio button. Make sure it's typed like this. Master, because that's what we had up at the top, where we have master equals TK. Then after that, we have a comma variable. We'll talk about variable in a minute. Text is whatever you want the text associated with it, and then the value. Now, getting onto this qvar, q1 var, q2 var, q3 var. Basically, what they are special things called integer variables. Now, what this means and what these are, what we're doing here at the top here, we are declaring these variables. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put in what we call a comment. You have to do this, and you've got to do this for all the blocks. So I'm doing it for this one. So what this is we'll create integer variables. So you've got to do that. You put in a comment for every line of, for every block of code that you've got. Now, so if we go further down, create integer variable. So what we're doing is we're creating q1 var, we're making it an integer. So what that means is we have a look at this. So we're assigning a variable to this radio button. And to this group of radio buttons, these three, we are assigning them a q1 var. So for all these three, that's what we've assigned it. Now we are also giving it a value. So it can have a value of 1, it can have a value of 2, it can have a value of 3. That can be whatever we want. But what happens now is that Q1, if we select Q1, if we select 10, it's saying that the value for Q1 of these three buttons is 1. If we select this, it's saying it's 2. If we select this one, it's saying it's 3. And that's the same for all of them. So these three buttons here, radio buttons here, are all referring to Q2 var. So value 1 of Q2 var is 0. So what does that have to do with anything and what we're doing? If we go further down, we can see that we've got a check button, or a button which we've called check. So this button, this runs the total subroutine. Yeah, it looks a bit weird. So we do that by saying, okay, we've made we've got a check button. I've called a check button. That's a button. It's gone to the master window. The text is check, as we see here. And from there we go command equals total. And if we scroll up, we see that we've got a subroutine here called total. I'm going to talk about that in the next video.